What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba. And a little action today. We had a little action this morning when we traded with my members. And right now we're seeing the markets are under some pretty heavy pressure. It's been a kind of a wild week, but the volume is still overall lacking. Maybe today's a little bit better, see, but you still got very little volume. This is always a concern, but at the end, let's see what happens. We could have a trade here in the euro currency coming up right now. And let's flip it over and see. The stop would be 115.81. 115.81 would be the stop. And got to wait a few seconds here to see if it becomes a trade. And you can take the euro currency if you want. 115.81 to stop. Okay. And anything else going on? We're kind of consolidating here along the lower levels of the market here. Let's see what it looked like here. Crude, nothing to do right now. Making a nice little bounce, but not a lot to do. Bitcoin, not much. It's kind of quiet, although there is some action. And again, you got to wait for it and be patient enough to wait for it. So that's kind of what we do, and continue to look and wait for action as we see the markets. And right now, there's not a lot to do. But again, there is enough action in the overall markets that we could see something show up at any time here. So. And we need a little bit more action now. And need a little bit more volume. You need crude volume to reach up to about here. You need the S&P volume to reach up to about here. And of course, it has to be directional. It's not just volume alone. It's price action and volume. And gold probably need the volume to get up to around here. So not much at the moment. We do have one trade on though, and let's take a look at the other stuff while we're hanging out. Obviously, I've got the boards up. I've got 8 screens, so I can see if there's something to look at. Apple, look at that, still hovering around that 270 we talked about on Tuesday. Okay, not breaking it away. If it holds up here, it's probably a buy. It's probably going to 280. But from our standpoint, there's nothing to trade, and I'm just going to flip over here real quick to see what's going on here, just in case. Amazon. Alpha Michael Zulu November, as we sold it on Tuesday, and here you go. Nice trade. Okay. It should probably reach down to support at 240-ish. But certainly it's a winning trade for us right now. Nothing to do, nothing to add on to it. Coin. This is, again, you probably want to sell put spreads here if you're going to do anything. Hold on one second. Let's just make sure. Okay, we got nothing here. So coin, let's see what it looks like. Let's look at some put spreads here. And we'll do these for the 14th, week from tomorrow. And let's see, the 300, 297.50 for $1.05. I can do that. Okay, let me just write it down so we can track it. I got so many open positions. Okay, so that filled at $1.08. Okay, crowd. We didn't do anything with it the other day. It wasn't quite there, and obviously it's a shame, but it wasn't quite there. Ether. We did do something. Okay, and it's still going down. So fortunately, we have it for next week. We do need a little bit of a rally. We've got on the 26.25. Okay. So we did that for like 42 cents. All right. So we're underwater a little bit, but again, it just takes one day, one rally, just like yesterday. So we'll see what happens. Meta is now a potential trade to look at. Let's see, Meta. Oh, let me go back here first. I don't want to miss the short-term stuff in case it shows up. No, not really. And I've also got this this trade assist stuff that I watch over here that also triggers and tells you when there's something to do. So there really is not much to do right now anyways. It's a program that was written for this. So, but right now, not much. Okay, let's go back to Meta. See what Meta looks like. Michael Echo Tango Alpha. And for the 14th, maybe the 620, 617.50. For $1.08. Yeah, I can do that. Meta. Hold on one second. Okay, Google. Nothing to do here. Getting close. INOQ, nothing to do here. Let's just flip back. Our euro currency is profitable. That's good. You got a couple of ticks in it, whether if you're trading with mini or micro or regular, but you do have some profit in it right now. If you want, you can take that stop right to break even now. Lock it up. We don't have enough to get out, but we can certainly move the stop to break even. Not a bad idea, not a bad plan. And nothing else at the moment. Let's go back here. If you have any questions, by the way, you can ask. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions you might have. IWM, nothing yet, but we'd look to be a put seller if we saw something, but right now there's nothing. MP, nothing to do right now. Microsoft, certainly would be a put spread seller here. Microsoft, MSFT, Michael Sierra Foxtrot Tango. Okay, so Meta filled and coin filled and Microsoft 495. These are wider spreads. Not that I care, but I'm not getting enough premium. I would do the 495, 490 if I could get $2 right now. I can only get $1.88, so I'm going to let it go. I got enough to do. I don't have to worry about missing that one. And let's just go back here real quick. Okay, so you should have one of your euro currency should be off at a profit. Now you would go to break even for sure. Okay. And MSTR, Michael Sierra Tango Romeo, certainly would be a put spread seller here. Now we have this on from the other day, so it's under a little water, but again, we do have a week to go. And if you didn't put it on, you could put it on now. I'd put on the 240. Hold on. MSTR, Michael Sierra Tango Romeo, 240. $237.50. That's not right. It's not giving me a price. That's a problem. Okay, I'll come back to it. But it's certainly when you want to look at selling puts. Listen, the bottom line is I would sell it for $1.05, $1.10. Okay, that's the bottom line. Right now, I'm getting a bad quote, so I can't do anything with it right now. NNE, nothing to do. Let's just flip over, make sure we're not missing here. Okay, so the euro's working fine. Nothing else to do yet at the moment. Nugget, nothing to do. NVIDIA, nothing to do. We did sell it the other day, though, so that's good. Palantir, nothing to do. QBTS, nothing to do. The Qs, nothing to do. SMCI, certainly could sell some put spreads here. Okay. SMCI, Sierra Michael, Charlie, India. And $41.40 if you're game. I'm going to sell that for 45 cents. Okay. Let's see, SMCI. I write them down because I got so many positions on and so many different accounts that I want to make sure that I track the right ones that we're in together. SPY, nothing to do. XYZ. Looks like you could sell some put spreads here if you wanted. It's right at the bottom end here too. XYZ. $71. Wait, they have earnings today. I'm sorry. No bueno. No good. Earnings today. That was my bad. I knew there was something going on there. I could see by the prices of the options. Tesla, which we did the other day. Nice little trade. Win. We didn't have nothing to do. Still not anything for us yet. XBI, nothing to do. And Zoom, nothing to do. Okay. So, hey, look, the markets look like they're appearing to start to make a top. Again, I'm not predicting. I'm just telling you that they look like there's topping action. I'm just going to show you a chart of something different, but this is something that I do trade live cattle, but it's not the chart itself. It's the action. So you saw the straight-up move. You saw the break, the attempted rally, and that's what I'm looking for in the S&P. Okay, the same action, the break. The real key is, will it rally back? If it fails to take out the highs, that means the top is probably in. Okay, doesn't mean there's anything for us to do. We have to wait to act, but at least learning to recognize when those things are happening is important. Okay. So Euro's a nice winner. You one off, and we're still waiting for something else to trade. Again, I can't force the trades. I can't make them happen, but certainly if they do, we'll be ready. But you're it looks like you may be making some temporary bottoms here. Now, that's not the method I'm trading right here, but there's a little bit of a rounding bottom here and in here. It's consolidation with a potential lean to the upside. You could see a rally coming here at some point shortly. Maybe while we're together, maybe not. But there's really nothing. The only trade I could make right now, if I were going to get involved right now, would be to be a buyer. Okay. Or I could wait and look for the rally and let it sell. But we are still really in consolidation. So what you're really waiting for is for it to break out of these ranges here that are very narrow, but that's what happens, right? That's what you're waiting for right now, is you're waiting for it to break one way or the other out of here. As a normal trader, just trading the chart. If you're waiting for the blow-off trade, which we're waiting for, we need obviously a much bigger move. Okay, but there's different ways to look at it. Excuse me. Certainly crude is not enough action, so there's really nothing for me to do, but it is getting up near that 3 standard deviations, which is 3 standard deviations away is almost an automatic buy or automatic sell, depending on your risk tolerance and your comfort with taking losses. Okay, I mean, listen, not every trade's a winner. So, but when you get to, it's about a 90% chance that you'll get some mean reversion once you get to 3 standard deviations. And on my Bollinger Bands on these little charts, these are 3 standard deviations away. On my bigger charts, there are 2 standard deviations. Okay. Certainly you could use 2, but I think it creates too many false moves and the probability is not as high. Okay. So again, right now we're just kind of waiting. All right. So you should be stopped out of your euro currency probably at a profit. You still may be. And again, this all depends on where your entry was. But certainly I'm stopped out. But made profit, so I'm happy with that. And again, we're just not getting enough volume here to force anything else. And I don't think there's going to be a jobs number tomorrow. I guess they could still change their mind and put it out. Let us know today that they're going to put it out. But you can see we're hovering in this consolidation pattern right here, waiting. It looks like the Russell may be looking to break to the downside in the same similar pattern. But notice this is more of a little bit of a rounding type of bottom versus this is flat and breaking to the downside. Very similar in the Dow. So again, there's not enough for us to do anything anyways. Okay. But we did put on 3 trades. Let me just go back to that monster and see if those quotes are corrected. Because I would like to put it on. But I can't do anything at the moment with it like it is. Wow, what the fuck? There's got to be a quote here. I can see the quotes, okay, but it's not giving me. It's giving me an $8 debit, which is obviously not something I'm going to trade. Let's try it again. Yeah, no, there's something. There's an error in the quoting system on that particular security. I don't know if anybody else is having that same problem, but in the meantime, here you go. We're pushing up against resistance, and the S&P, in the Nasdaq, and in the S&P. Russell is hovering right there at resistance, as is the Dow. But these look like they want to break to the upside. These look like they want to break to the downside. But again, I'm not making any trades based on that. I'm just looking for direction and hoping that we get that dramatic move one way or the other so that we can participate. Okay, that's something to always keep in mind when you're trading these, is to put yourself in a position to understand what you think should happen and watch. So it looks like, again, since we drew these in, we've climbed up about 10 points in the S&P. Now, it hasn't given us a trade to make, but you have seen that we identified that the most likely direction there was higher. And you can see that the Nasdaq has worked its way a little bit higher. The S&P has worked its way a little bit higher, and versus the other two, which we're pretty much dead nuts right. Again, it doesn't make, just to be right doesn't make any money. We have to act, but we don't want to act in these very tight ranges because, again, you get some generally big whips in here, which is why we're waiting on these time frames. We're waiting for the blow off. We're waiting for the speed, the markets to make a big move one way or the other, and we're going to take the opposite side. Okay, but we don't have anything right now like that. There's nothing going on, and if you look at my trade assist stuff, you can see that there would be a colored change here. This was a blow off to the downside in crude. That was a buy. Okay, you can see the blue bar that showed up. Okay, again, this is nothing we could have done, but I'm just trying to show you what I'm looking for. Okay, and at the end of the day, it's something that helps trigger, so I don't have to watch as closely if I don't feel like it. I can look over at the other charts and see that it's identifying it if I'm doing other things. But you can see we are breaking to the downside in the Dow. We are breaking to the downside in the Russell, and we're still hovering. We failed to take out the resistance, so there's a high probability it'll come back down to support. But we're not true scalpers here. We need bigger hits because we don't get the edge, right? As a floor trader, I got the edge of a tick or two, so I could have room for error. As a retail trader, we don't get the edge. We always sell the bid and buy the offer. Even though you might think you're not, you are. Okay. So we'll see if anything shows up here. It doesn't appear it will be, but we did put on 3 trades, and we're looking for a monster. If you see it later, certainly you could look at it. But again, right now, there's not a lot to do. So why should I put myself in a position when there isn't much to do? And I hope that makes sense to everybody, since nobody talks to me. But anyways, let's see what happens here at the last minute and see if we can get anything to do. But they are pretty heavy, and you are going to test. There you are. Now you're going to test the downside. Here you're testing support. Okay. Do they break to the downside? Well, I don't know. I mean, if I were trying to trade this, I would be a buyer here to trade the range. But I'm not trading the range because, once again, I don't get enough edge to try to trade in a tight range. Okay. So it makes more sense for me to wait. But I don't see much. I think we're going to have 4 trades we put on, or 3 trades we put on, 1 we're working, and 1 winning day trade. And I'll see you all on Tuesday. Remember, I do a market 120 every day just to give you a brief update of what I'm seeing early in the morning. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.